Hello, everyone. My name is Zark Muckenberg, and I'm here with Abhinav Sahai from Nisway. Abhinav, what's going on? How are you today?
Wonderful and good to meet you.
Why is it good to meet me? I'm a sock. Who cares if they're meeting me or not?
Well, I've never met a sock.
Well, I don't know about that. You're just not lucky, or perhaps a little uninitiated.
Oh my God, that doesn't help.
It doesn't help at all, no. So, anyways, Abhinav, I'm taking over the podcast now. I fired Sajeel. He's out of here. So, why don't you just tell me about what is your greatest business mistake?
Wow, right off the bat, huh? Greatest business mistake.
That's right, right off the bat. Cricket bat, baseball bat, doesn't matter. Right off the bat.
All right, there's a baseball bat as well. Anyway, coming back to mistakes, I don't know. I mean, so many of them. Which one to be biggest? Hmm, I think probably got complacent at some point, and I think uh, when things were I think really hit elite, kind of everything kind of like okay, that's it, we are done and dusted, and got complacent. I think that was the biggest mistake. In a business, you can never be too comfortable, I suppose. Not as a founder, at least. Yeah,
So you became an elite HubSpot partner, and then you thought, yay, I did everything. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. And you just went to sleep on top of the
yeah,
mountain.
something like that. Yes, not mountain near the beach, but yes.
Oh, so when you got to the beach after a long journey, you thought, oh, let's go take a nap and never wake up.
Never wake up. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
That's a pretty good sleeping pill.
Man, you should take it someday.
What makes you think I don't sleep? Do I look like somebody who doesn't get enough sleep to you?
Well, it's 5 a.m. your time, so I don't know.
Who told you what time it is? Do you have some sort of security mechanisms, IT stuff in my rooms to know what time it is from
Exactly,
where I live?
exactly. I can see through the camera around your room.
Oh, you see back there? Yeah, I live in a prison cell, and this is the only daylight I have.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. So tell me, what does complacency look like for a founder, anyways?
I think when you start looking at things and feeling that, yeah, I mean, you've done it, and now you know what the code is, and now you can do it over and over again, and you kind of let it go that, okay, yeah, uh, that's it, right? You understand that, okay, you've conquered all problems, and now any problem that comes your way, you are prepared, and everybody around you is prepared to handle. So you become easy, and even though problems are coming, you see them, and you're like, okay, that's okay, that can be handled, and you let them pass. You see them going both ways, and you don't do anything about it. That hoping that okay, you know the solutions, and everybody knows the solutions, and it will get sorted on its own, which doesn't happen. The on its own part. That's I think.
You sound like the CEO of Computan too. Did you guys like switch bodies or something? He's a lazy guy who doesn't do anything either.
Yeah, he's like me. That's why I'm here.
I thought you were here to talk to me. But anyways, so what kind of examples do you have? What is like an example of something you just let go? Did you forget to pay a bill or something? Something like that?
I think forgot to build a team.
Wow, you forgot to build a team. That's a small thing to forget. What happened? Did the dog eat your homework or something? Ha!
Well, like I said, got complacent. I didn't look at what growth meant. For example, being elite meant more projects, more customers, bigger customers, complex projects. Things were about to take off from here. What I didn't realize is probably that was not the summit. It was just the beginning for another, peak where we were starting off. And what got us here will not get us there. That saying, right? So what got us here to be elite? I think to go from here to the next there, we did not have that. kind of team.
So what
And
did you do
yeah,
about it?
well, after a point, woke up.
You woke up and then what? Went back to sleep?
Right, of course. I wish. No, started building the team, right? Started looking at what our weaknesses are, where we are, whether that will take us there. Who do we need to add to the board? The things that we have not learned. You kind of, I don't know if you read this book called Elephant Catchers, but basically that talks about, how while you will use a net to catch fish as well as elephants, but the elephant catchers are different from the fish catchers, fishermen, right? So while the methodology may be similar, but yeah, the elephant catchers are completely different beast of people. And so I think that got once I read that book, that got me moving in that direction. That okay, yeah, we've got a lot of people who have been very good fishermen, and we kind of need the elephant catchers. So started looking at building the team in a different manner. Uh, and yeah, the journey is on. I think I won't say we're there yet, but yes, that's what we've been doing.
So I have a lot of questions. Uh,
Okay.
when did this all start? When did This Way make Elite, and when did you read Elephant Catchers, and when did you hire your first elephant?
Okay. So we made a late, I don't know, 2022, I think, if I'm not wrong.
That's a long
Uh,
time ago. I
yeah,
wasn't even
exactly.
born by then.
Right. See, which is why I can't remember when was it exactly. But I think, yeah, 2022. Uh, that is, yeah, so early, I think January or February, sometime that time. And then when did we hire? I think the realization came only probably mid 23. Took me about 1.5 years uh, to come to that realization. I mean, obviously, once we hit a lead, everything was hunky dory, so that went on for a while. And then I think towards the end of the year, things started cracking up and started seeing, okay, I need to wake up. Uh, and then mid 2023 started, I think, found these at least answers that, okay, this is what we need to do, right? Uh, and then I think got first hire, I don't know, end of 23, I think. Yeah,
So about 2 years, 3 years ago.
about 2 years ago. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 1.5, yeah. You could say 1.5 years to be more precise. But yeah, and then obviously the first hire did not work out well, even though we thought it would, right? But as we all know, right, only probably one third of our hires go right, uh, and then and yeah, so since been on that journey trying to make that happen. But yeah, it's been about 1.5 years, 1.5 years trying to get more elephant catchers in the team. Yeah.
So what does an elephant catcher at This Way look like compared to fish fisherman?
Fishermen, I think uh, two things. I think one is that they would have captured elephants before at other organizations. Uh, right. I think that is one key thing that we were looking for. So when I say in comparison, so let's say, just to take a small example, somebody who would have worked, let's say if it's a project manager kind of person we are looking at as an elephant catcher versus fisherman. I think the fisherman would have worked at a lot of projects, uh, maybe or maybe not enterprise, maybe worked at an enterprise setup or maybe not. In most cases, not. All right. So they would have done tons of projects, but they would have not, run enterprise projects for like projects where you can, look at the brief and say, hey, this is a 9-month project, this is a 2-year project, right? Those kinds of things. Uh, right. Versus, so somebody who would have done that versus somebody would have done lots of projects, but most of their, maybe the largest project that they have done would have been only 6 months, right? So, so build a plan for a year versus, looking at a 4 month project and, finishing it up in 5 months versus, even look at it, okay, this is going to be 1 year, uh, provided the scope same remains the same, but yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Oh, boss, what are you doing here? Zark, you hijacked my podcast. Get out of here. Let me continue. No, no, it's mine. You, stop, stop it. No, no. Ah, we are back live. So Abhinav, so yeah, that's interesting. So I mean, like you hired a so you're looking. We call it elephant catcher. You mean somebody who has done jobs which you are trying to get. Is that right, or is that kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah. Which we were not just trying to get, we were also getting, and we were screwing up on those.
okay. So you got the job. Maybe you work with like someone at HubSpot. They brought you in on a deal. It's a huge deal for some big huge Indian
Yeah.
conglomerate and or whatever multinational conglomerate,
Whatever.
and
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
and your PMs internally didn't have the knowledge of knowledge of dealing with someone of that size with their internal politics and their internal stuff and
Yes.
those sorts of things.
Yes. Exactly.
So you call those people fishermen and elephant catchers. I haven't read the book, so you got to like pardon my ignorance here. So I mean,
Sure.
one is like a. I'm guessing one does like one sells maybe you know I don't know like balloons on the street. One sells balloons to stores, and there's just different kinds of salespeople,
Yeah. Yeah.
project
Yeah.
project manager, accountant, developer, sales, marketing, whatever.
Everything. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And and so you hired these people that you thought were elephant catchers. First couple times didn't work out, like you said. One third works, and but then you brought in the right elephant catchers, hopefully, and things went okay. Or
Yeah, I think like I said, we are on that journey now. I feel we have a few people now who can, you know, have put us in a better spot as compared to where we were, 1 or 2 years ago. Uh,
okay,
like you said, in terms of project managers and in terms of sales, both. Uh, right. So,
okay. So you caught a lot of fish and you climbed up to elite with all on the pile of fish that you caught.
yeah.
Okay, so now you're on the top of that mountain elite. You say beach. Okay, let's say fine. You went down. You went down to the beach on a trail of. You followed a trail of fish to the beach, and you got to the elite beach. Now you're there, and you feel like to go further into the beach, like to the better part of the beach. Maybe that's the part of the beach with the ice cream truck. I don't know. To get to there, you need different kinds of people to get you there and you didn't know that and it kind of led you to some wasted
Yeah.
time, money, opportunities, lost
Yes.
clients on the way to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're still on the way there. You haven't got to the ice cream truck on the beach yet. You're still walking there, you'd say, or
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. We're still walking there.
so so you and I come from the same culture, so we probably have I don't know what's the most nicest way of saying this. I mean, we're both fiscally conservative, probably in our own way. Like we have this non-supportive buying cycle where we don't buy things the way we sell things, right? Like
Yeah.
we we would say, okay, look, I want to buy that, but shoot, that the first thing is like that's a lot of money. How am I gonna get that back? How am I going to recover that? But when we sell, it's always like hey, I can get the sale no problem. I can because my price is really good and my cost is great and I can deliver it. So when you're talking about elephant catchers, that's you're making an investment, right? But
Yeah.
how do you get past that? Because these are not the people that you're typically used to maybe hiring. If we're talking about some
Yeah.
people, if we're calling elephant catchers people, you know, how do you get past all that as a person? Like, what do you do to deal with your dark side?
I think one of the things is once you've burnt your fingers, you know that okay, what is not working. So, partly that helps that you know what is not working. And so you've got to try something different, even if it is uncomfortable, even if it, you know, makes you wake up at night. Hey, I've got this person who's such a, high salary. How will I be able to afford it? Right. But it's like part of the job that now I know, right? If I got somebody, with lesser experience or the fisherman, I failed at it twice or thrice. So might as well take this bet. Uh, yeah.
So, and is that kind of what happened? Is it like, when you lose, you learn, right? So, you got this really big job and you just trucked it up. It didn't go well, and you thought, you know what? I hired a boy to do a man's job or a girl to do a woman's job, something like that.
Yeah.
And, the boys are great, the girls are great. They have their place in the team, but for
Yes.
these things, I need like a woman or a boy, a man or whatever, there's somebody who is, more experienced than taking nothing away from the fisher people. The fisher
Yes,
people.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
taking nothing away from that. I mean, this is
Wow.
just a different experience, you know. So even the fisherman, for example, may have had 10 years of experience. The elephant catcher may also have only 10 years of experience, but that their years of experience is in a different setup,
Different
the
sector. Yeah.
different team, right? All those things. So that way. So both are valuable, but at different kinds of jobs. And yeah, the realization is
Okay.
to get there to that ice cream where that they're selling
Ice
ice
cream
cream
is
on the
always.
beach.
Yeah.
You need those guys.
Okay. So Abhinav, now you got to. I'm fascinated by this whole thing. So let's say you've been walking along with these fisher people. All of a sudden, you realize you have this vision that you lost something, and you feel like, okay, I need a I need an elephant catcher now. And what do you tell those fisher people? What do you tell them? We say, hey, I can't give you this job. I'm hiring this new person, rock star, all star elephant catcher to do this. I'm taking it away from you now. What's that dynamic all like for you? What was it like?
See, for me, it is just one plain answer generally. You know, that, hey, we are growing as a company. These are the new things that we need. These are the new skills that we need, which we don't have. We're getting these new people. Now you got to tag along with them and learn from them. That is why, we are getting these people. So you got to
Wow.
learn at some point, either here or at some place else. But yeah,
And how do they take all of that? Like these fish, they said, look, I
see,
mean, no,
most
we've been
most
with you
people
since day one, and we've been with you for a long time. How do they take all that?
most people take it positively, thankfully. uh, some don't,
It's good.
and yeah, they ship out. Yeah, they choose a
They
different
ship
boat.
out.
Yeah,
So it's like they just ship out. They move on to a different boat. They're on a different journey from now on.
yeah,
Wow.
they join
And do
somebody
you
else
and do
who's
you
trying to be elite.
and do you find you miss them? Do you feel like you need those people? You wish they were here? I mean, what's the from you as a you're not just doing this for the money anymore, right? This is more
Yeah.
for like the team now. You just told me at the beginning. You told us, Zark. I mean, when I was listening, you said that you do this. You're trying to build a team now. So don't you feel like you need some of those, legacy people? It'd be nice to have them, or you miss them. I mean, don't you have that vibe?
Yeah, I mean, it's been there. It's been forever. I mean, it's been what, 13, 14 years now in the business. I still wish some of the people who left never should have never left, or I would have loved to have them back. But it is what it is. People have their own journeys. I've come to accept that. Some people may still be friends. Some people are still friends, but they may choose a different boat. And you've got to say at some point, okay, no hard feelings. Yeah, that's fine.
And do you
But
just
it is difficult. It is painful, I must mention.
yeah, what makes it painful? Just because you've been through so much with these people, right? And
Yeah, exactly.
I've been there. Yeah,
I'm
and
sure.
and then when
Multiple
you
times,
when
yeah.
they and then yeah, when they leave, it's like, part of you goes with them, but the
Goes with
loss helps you learn in some way, right? Like, you then when
yeah.
you that's when you realize maybe that you have to change, or
Yes.
you know
With each such person, you come and tell yourself, hey, don't get too attached. But then it happens again.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's your name on the door, right? And people who you feel care about it, even though it's
Yeah.
your dream, it's your company, like this way is yours. I mean, it's they put their heart and soul into your vision, your thing, right? They believe in you. And then when they walk off for whatever reason, their reason or your reason, or you just couldn't make it work, it just
Hmm.
feels like a divorce, right?
Yes. Every time. Yeah.
So okay, let's talk about that now. How many times have you been divorced in that
Oh my God.
situation? Like, are we talking five,
Yeah.
10, 3, 1?
No, no, it's been more than 10 easily.
You're a nice guy. I mean, you can get that attached to that many people, and you feel like it's like when they leave, part of you leaves too. Like that's a lot. 10 is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's been difficult, right? I mean, just within the last 12 months, two people left. One was here 8 years, one was here 9 years, right? So how do you get not
Mm,
attached, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And then even like the culturally, right, on the team, like you're building a team, right? So it's the morale, right? Oh, this guy he's been with Abhinav since the beginning, and now he's not he or she is not there. It's like, yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, like that is
yes,
yeah. I've been there.
that is the
I've been there.
most difficult conversation.
I've been there. I've been there. I've been there. I've been there. Oh, how many times? 10 is, I would say one was life changing.
Oh, wow.
Three were more like 3 or 4 were more like professionally changing, but one was like life changing. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
It's
God.
it's
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I know exactly what you're feeling. I can see you, and that would be me if you were the host and I was the guest, right? So like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it light here, but like I know what it's like, and I've had those emotions, those sleepless nights, like those sorts of things, and I think like when so. But it's interesting, like here you are, like you're still doing this stuff, and you're still talking about how I got here, which is phenomenal. Like I don't think just you were the first company in India to make a leap, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. In all of Asia, not just India. Yeah.
All of Asia. So I mean, like that is like you're talking 60% of the world's population. You were the first to do it. So that is like a huge accomplishment for your. It's a huge testament to you and the Fisher people, right? Now you're there, but now you feel like okay, well now I got to build a team. Now I was like, what do you mean? You got here already. So but you still felt like as an owner you had to make those hard decisions and say that the next chapters of the Nisway book will be written by totally new authors.
Hmm.
That takes a lot of testicular fortitude. I mean, I don't know if I can do that. I mean, like, that is not something. How do you? How did
I think it just happened. I didn't think, like I said, I got complacent. I was like, okay, fine, now everything is good. So until it hit me, so it's like was forced into that situation. Hey, if you don't do this, there is no. I mean, forget elite or diamond. You won't even survive if you don't, start looking that way.
okay, okay. So it came about survival, right? That where you had people, and you just got to a certain point. You plateaued, and you couldn't go any further.
Yeah, exactly.
And you read this book, and that was kind of like the catalyst for change.
Change in mindset. Yes, yes.
Wow.
I mean, I read lots of books, but this one was
Yeah.
the one that hit me basically. That okay, yeah, this is what has to be done.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I mean, like, it's a hard thing to do because, you know, we're such people who believe in, like family, continuity, culture, like we can grow together, we can build together, and to go look for help from a quote unquote outsider
Hmm.
is where you're making that kind of an investment in them to believe in them and then sell it to the locker room or like to the group inside the house that this outsider who's coming into the house is going to make our house better. I mean, that's a lot of CS, a lot of politics to deal with, right? I mean, like
It does. It is.
it's I mean, how many conversations was it? How was it? What was like the transition like? How to bring them in? It's like, can you break that down a little bit or?
No, I think the good thing is that we are a very transparent organization.
Okay.
So all these conversations, I am able to have with the team, including this that okay, we need elephant catchers. Uh, so with the existing team, I'm able to talk to them. I'm able to explain them why we are making this change before actually, going and implementing this. Uh, yeah. So both in terms of financials and in terms of how we are building the team, it's all very transparent. So everybody kind of sees that okay, what's happening.
And are you using like a like a methodology for that, like traction or something like that, like one of those sort of,
Yeah,
mentalities?
we started last year. Uh, okay, so many years ago, I started using more at a founder level was something called Profit First.
Profit
Uh,
first, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
you've heard of it, right?
I've heard of it, but probably our 17 listeners haven't, but I've heard of
Sure.
it. So,
70. Yeah, I mean, so Profit First is written by a guy called Mike. Uh, I can't pronounce his last name. It's very difficult. Sorry. Uh, but yeah, I found that very useful. That was way 7, 8 years, probably 9 years back when I read that book. We implemented that. We got at that time we were not, doing profits regularly. So
okay.
got that methodology implemented. Profit first became profitable eventually. Eventually, I even became a profit first coach and started other people telling how to make a business. Anyway, that aside, right now, we so many years ago, actually, I heard this talk by power couple. I don't know if you know this agency called Mojo Media Labs. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, Nicole and Mike Rose, yeah, of
Nicole and
course.
Micro, right? So they
Yeah.
gave a talk on something called as open book management
Yes.
at Inbound,
Great
right?
game of
Okay.
business. The great game of business, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So last year we enrolled into that. We are told we are only the second company from India who's doing GGOB, Great Game of Business. But yeah, so last year March we started, and so far we are following it. Every week huddles and financial literacy and all of that happens. Yes, so that is the methodology we are following. Uh, yeah, traction and all I read, but I thought it's more at a I don't know. I was not convinced fully with it. But GGOB is something that hit me that, okay, yeah, if everybody sees how their work impacts the business and eventually their salaries and bonuses and everything, probably there is a better chance of, building this.
And how does that affect morale and race cycles? Because in India, race cycles are very different than the rest of the world, right? You have to give raises with inflation, with performance as well. So, how does that all that, play out when on the ground, like something like the great game of business? That's interesting.
Uh, no, so one is that last year also, we made that change and we said, okay, the race cycles are only going to be annual. We
Okay.
put it, yeah. So we agreed on it. We gave mid-year hikes to everybody, whether you got a hike, 2 months ago or 10 months ago, everybody got a
Okay.
hike.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So everybody got a hike and then got standardized, and then we with that we said, okay, every year only we are going to do it. Okay. With that, we also because we were introducing GGOB, we could able to transparently share that okay, if the company does not make X profit, the hikes get affected. It's a direct proportion to that. So again, it's a lot of education, uh, but yeah, the morale was on days the numbers are good. Obviously the morale is high. On days numbers are not so good. People do feel low. That happens. You have to bear with both. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this way now and where you guys want to go. So, you're still, I'm guessing, an elite partner, still even with all the changes in the calculation
Not
of
not really. We are
team.
diamond now since about a
Okay,
year.
okay. So so
Yeah.
so tiering rules have affected you a little
Steering.
bit, fine. Yeah, but it's neither here nor there. I mean, but
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, that's fine.
so you're still top of the mountain in Asia for the most part. You you have this. You're on this journey to with adding elephant catchers to the team. What's that struggle like every day? That grind is there friction between the new and the old? Is there complacency? Is it? I mean, what's
Okay,
bothering you with it?
uh, no, there's not complacency. No, not really. I think at least not at the leadership level. No, there is not. Probably because most of us have gone through that cycle already. uh,
Yeah,
uh, I think the challenge, yes, does become, or the biggest challenge I should say is, just handling egos because a lot of people will have, somebody who's been, let's say, at this way for a long time versus somebody who's got a lot of experience otherwise, right? So there will be some ego clashes. Hey, I've been here, I know how things are done, but somebody else is coming. Hey, I've been there. This is how things are done there, right? Uh, so, so yeah,
So
so those.
how do you handle that? Say it's it's elephant catcher and fisher person are arguing. I've done it here and it's been great. Oh, I'm doing it here and it's great. They of course go to you and they say, Abhinav, this person, this elephant catcher, Abhinav, this fish person, they're both coming to you and you're in the middle. What does what does Daddy Dearest do in that situation?
So thankfully, not a lot. I mean, that's not a lot that happens, but still, I think generally I just look at the goal and I try to remind both the members, what is the goal we are trying to achieve, and then genuinely ask them, what do you think will get us there? This is the goal with respect to a project or a sales, whatever it is. What do you think will get us there? And whatever is the whichever side feels, yeah, the other person might be a better. So basically I put this, and it's been for a while now in the company, which is that whenever there is an argument, I will always say, either you convince me or you get convinced, but
Okay.
once we choose, then we are all on the same line, on same side, right? uh,
Okay. Disagree and accept. Very much a Amazonian sort of way of thinking.
Uh, I won't even say disagree and accept. I will say you have to get convinced. If you're not convinced and still accepting, no, that is not what I want. Because
Okay,
then
so
you're
how do
not going
you
to give it fully, give your 100%
yeah.
fully. You're
Okay, so
waiting
so
for
how do you
that
get
moment.
around that?
I told you so, right?
Yeah, so let's unpack that for me a little bit. So, you're either you convinced me or you get convinced. Now, what's that process like in this way? Are you talking, is it half an hour, hours, days, weeks, months? I mean, what is and how do you do it? What if you say, I fundamentally disagree with you? I feel like WordPress is better than HubSpot. That's my religion in a way. You can say that, right? You can have the argument. Then how do you,
Exactly.
how do you get convinced? How do you convince in that absolutes, in those absolutes, right? I'm sure you have passionate people there, right? Like the Fisher people who are just so, they believe so passionately on one way to do something, and you believe the opposite, and you're both
Mhm.
editing the same goal. Look, we feel like this is best for this customer. Do you ever just throw the gauntlet down and say, I'm the boss and this is how we're going to do it? Or like, how do you convince them?
Yeah, no, I generally try to avoid that I'm the boss. This is the way. Try to get people to see. Sometimes it is, like you said, does it take half an hour? Does it take days? I think I've seen both sides. Sometimes, it just gets, one call and yeah, people see the answer. Yeah, yeah. It's not about me or you, it's about the project. And yeah, that's the goal. So let's get aligned to that. Sometimes it is quick. Sometimes it takes months. Some person may not want to change at all. They want to stay a fisherman and not go to the elephant catcher side. So you keep, and so the whole point is keep pushing till you see that okay, the intent of the other person seems positive and seems good. They are not just thinking about themselves. Yes, they don't understand or they don't see your point of view, but still their heart is in the right place. So you keep pushing. Uh, yeah, some of those things have taken months, and yeah, have still not been resolved. But yeah,
That's it's Look, it's fascinating because one, we all know these things happen in every team, organization, business, whatever. But it's also fascinating because it's like, you can also just sense what the specifics are without having to know the specifics. And that's really interesting. I mean, and how actually how you go about solving it is just very unique in your own way because you're your own person. And like yeah, you're an interesting guy. It's a very interesting, very unique way of doing things, and also very similar to how probably anybody else would do them as well. But
yeah.
it's interesting. It's very
I
interesting.
think you just ask great questions. That's what makes it looks interesting.
No, but it's like you and I have never done this before, right? Where we've sat
Yeah,
down and actually talked about like
yeah, yeah.
how we do mistakes, how we handle
Yes.
them, how we do them. So like I mean, it's yeah, it's It's different. It's different.
It's different. Yeah, yeah,
It's easier to talk like that. It's like, oh, the mistakes. You can learn a lot from them.
yeah, yeah.
What would you what
100%.
would you say? Yeah. So what would you say to somebody who you like? When did you know that you plateaued? When did you figure it out?
I think the numbers tell the story,
Okay,
right?
so it's purely scoreboard. Revenue was X in 2022, and it was X minus one or X plus one in 2023.
Yeah, yeah. Simple.
Okay, okay, okay. It
I mean,
wasn't
one year
2X, it
you
wasn't
could still
3X.
1 year you could still say, right, that okay, yeah, okay, it was just the pandemic impact, or why it went up or why it went down. But then following year you kind of see the story then.
Okay, so 1 year it was okay, maybe it's just a
Yeah,
fluke and I'm the
yeah,
greatest, we're still good. But then the second year it was like, okay, you know what? I've lost, I've got something to learn. What did I lose?
yeah,
What did I
yeah.
okay. And that epiphany, that vision just came from you, or did somebody tell you, look, you lost, or was it just something internally that you
No, no,
just
it was
realized, okay,
internal.
oh,
We tried getting coaches and all in between, but they could not point this
okay,
out. Yeah, yeah, that happened as well. Uh, I mean, we could sense that something is wrong, uh, but we could
okay,
not figure out what is wrong. We got coaches. They stayed with us. We changed like I think two or three coaches probably. Uh, yeah. So yeah. So but during the second working with the second coach, which we did for quite some while, I think almost a year, that we figured that okay, we now see the problem internally while they are still not able to point that out. Uh, and yeah, and we started seeing okay, this is completely different to what they are trying to do with us, but that is not going to work, and here is a problem. So yeah.
so what you just said there, I mean, I know we have limited amount of time left, but I mean, like, I have like 1,812 questions here. So I mean, like, wait a minute. So you felt something was off, okay?
Yeah,
And then you went and hired coaches to try and figure out what was off. And then the coaches couldn't figure it out. Then you figured it out kind of on your own, more or less. Okay, so what was off? I mean, like, you don't go to the doctor for just to say hi. You say, I go to the doctor because I got a pain in my eye or a pain in my head. Like, what was the pain in Abhinav or in this way that you said I need to go see a doctor? What was that pain? What was that situation?
I think this I you know kind of vividly remember me and my co-founder talking,
Uh,
Suma,
yeah.
that okay, there is this, we've kind of, I think we've taken in more than we can chew, because we became
Okay.
elite, so many projects came and all of that, and then all of a
Okay.
sudden it became
Okay.
right,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
how is this going to get managed? We've just taken too many things on. That is when we went that okay, hey, help us, somebody help us now organize this mess.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. It's what I don't know how big Notorious B.I.G. is in India, but there's a rapper. He says, "More money, more problems," right? And so
Yeah,
is that kind of what happened? Like, you just
yeah,
had too
yeah,
much, and it became like sleepless nights, customer, this customer, that customer. You're just kind of flying from one thing in the
yeah,
inbox to
yeah,
another thing, and
exactly.
relatable. And then when you have that problem, it's like, organize this mess. How can you get organized? So you just like a cry for help to the world. I need a
Yeah,
coach. I need a doctor. Cry for help, and then they try to look at your watch and tell you what the time is, but they couldn't do it, and then you had to do it on your own.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what
It's
happened.
so
Yeah,
interesting. And so, but that goes against your elephant catcher mentality a little bit, right? Because you're saying in that case, the problem got solved from the inside out, where you guys figured it out internally and then you solved it. But now the elephant catcher mentality is saying that you can solve that problem from the outside coming in, isn't it? Right? Like that's
yeah, but I think what the difference here is, the coach or the consultant is just the consultant, right? You got to do the work yourself. And so the elephant catcher eventually, is an outsider, but they are here inside the workspace and doing the job, rather than somebody telling you from outside, hey, you should do this, that, you know how
yeah,
do we do
yeah,
it? Can somebody do it for us? Because we are already occupied, because there are already too many clients that
fair,
are yelling at us. So, right.
fair, fair. Yeah, there's a difference between you should and you will. There's a very big difference between those two
Yes.
statements. Yeah. You know what? I look. I mean, I was you know, I was really dumb on this topic before, and you made me smarter. So thanks for jamming with Zark and with me for a good
You're
40
just too
45 minutes
humble.
on RevOps 500. No, I mean, like it's just interesting to see. Like I mean, like obviously we have we have cross paths. We are on similar paths, and
Yeah.
we just but just to kind of sit there and understand how someone else in a similar chair as yours views the world or sees a problem or how they approach it is, yeah, just, I mean, I could do this the whole day. I mean, just
Yeah,
sit there and
I could sense that.
take notes,
Could keep
exchange
coming with
notes.
questions.
Yeah, because like it's just interesting, right? Like just
Yeah,
how I guess it'd be the same way if two musicians who were in the same genre were
yeah,
talking. Like if Arjit Singh and Atif Aslam were talking, or maybe they were like
yeah,
exchanging notes, something like that. I mean, or
yeah, yeah.
you could like two singers. I mean, like you could just kind of like just learn, right? There's no one is a threat to another one, right? So it's just kind of like it's just learning, it's understanding, it's just a very unique way of seeing a
Yes,
situation.
yeah, yeah. Which is why I mean I got excited. Okay, this is. I mean, and honestly, credit goes to Suma. Who saw the podcast. I mean, the LinkedIn post, and then she said, "Hey, this guy looks like he's talking like you. You should talk to him." Like, okay. I mean, talking about
Yeah, I mean,
failures, mistakes. I mean, these are things I keep talking about often. Uh,
yeah,
Funnily, I many years ago, I tried to build a brand called Good to Fail, and uh,
good to fail.
ironically, it failed.
Failed too good then, right? Ironically, it failed really well. That's good.
Yeah,
Good to fail. Yeah, and that's true.
yeah,
I think that your story is fascinating. No, nobody would see that. They'll just see, oh, the guy who is the elite partner in India and is it the first one in Asia. They'll just see those things. They will never see they'll never see the guy almost crying when he talks about people who left his company. That's a side note. They just say, oh, he's the rich guy, right? He's the guy who has the fame and the glory and the money, but they don't see the other side of it, right?
yeah,
The the cost of all that on
yeah.
his
Very,
on his
very rightly put. Yeah, the cost of all
yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Some bits of gray hair
Hey, you
is
know
one
what?
of
I
the
mean, like
costs.
at least you have hair, right? I don't have hair, but you have
Come
hair at
on.
least. I mean, like it's you pick your poison, right? You just pick whichever one you want, but either way, you're not getting out of it alive, right? You're
Yeah,
just gonna it's gonna kill you. That is it's interesting to talk to another person who seems to be addicted to the game. So yeah, I I, I appreciated this a lot. Abhinav, thanks for coming on.
absolutely.
And if anybody listening up there learned anything, we're sorry. And yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming on. This
Thanks,
is great.
thanks so much, Sajeel. Yeah, thank you so much
Yeah.
for having me. Take care.